Are you single and limit yourself to dating people who only look like you? Join us as we discuss the fundamentals of interracial relationships, next on Views and Vibes. In a world of great variety, many of us find ourselves alone, unwilling to explore the possibility of love over the color line. What's holding some of us back, while others are finding happiness with mates that don't share their ethnic heritage? Joining me today as we take a look at interracial relationships are the owner of the matchmaking service Premier Match, Mrs. Christie Nightingale, relationship therapist, Dr. Corbin, and the author of the controversial new book, Don't Bring Home a White Boy and Other Notions That Keep Black Women from Dating Out, Mrs. Karyn Folan. Good evening, afternoon, morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Fine.
Great to have you guys here. Karyn, I want to start off with you. All right, you have this wonderful new book that I've been reading. I'm still getting through it. I just picked it up last weekend. It's wonderful. I've heard you. I've seen you on TV. I've heard you on the radio and everything. I had to have you here to talk about it. But in your book, you talk about some of the notions and some of the reasons why Black women aren't dating outside of their race. What is the resistance to interracial dating?
Well, there are all kinds of notions. In fact, I put 9 of them or so in the book. Some of the ones I think that you hear most commonly are, after slavery and with that historical legacy between Black women and white men, that it's really difficult to overcome the notion of willingly entering into a relationship. But then there are also concerns about family support. My family would never accept him. His family won't accept me. Children, I think a lot of people still feel that biracial children have a harder time than other kids. Right. There's minor or relatively minor things like attractiveness and who finds whom attractive and why. I've heard girlfriends say, I need a man with that swagger, and I feel like white men don't have it. So all across the board, all kinds of concepts that women will use as reasons why this is a door that they haven't gone through. And yet I do sense that given the statistics that so many African-American women are dealing with, 70% single, 42% never married, compared to fractions of that number from women of other backgrounds, it's timely to start talking those issues through, that resistance through, and seeing if we can reframe it in a way that works better for us.
Okay. Now, Christie, you actually run a dating service, and people put their profiles together, they say what it is that they're looking for, what their preferences are. How important is ethnicity to some of the profiles and the criteria that people will lay out for you?
Well, when I interview potential members, they do present me a list of criteria, but then we also have an interview, and I ask them all kinds of questions about exploring perimeters and if they might be okay with trying out dating different races, religions, I mean, everything. Many are very open to exploring it. Now, will they end up with somebody of a very different race? Perhaps not. But many have been surprised to be attracted to the men that they've met that might be of a various race. Because, I mean, I have all different races. I have, African-American, white, Asian, Indian, Latin. And it's fascinating how many will try different backgrounds.
And they are willing to just go out and give it a chance. Give it a chance.
Right. No, I mean, if they were to fill out profiles and then I just listen to what they're asking for, yes, I would say that they probably would stick with their own. But after talking with me and exploring those perimeters, I find that they are open to trying it.
Now, Dr. Corbin, now when you sit down with couples, it's particularly interracial couples, what are some of the fundamental problems that these couples are finding that, that kind of lead to the fears that Karyn was speaking of?
The primary problems that I see in coaching is problems with the in-laws, because there's one side of the family or both sides of the family sometimes that aren't going to accept it. And then the outside stigma attached to having kids that are biracial. And who are those kids going to identify with, and how are we going to identify our children in terms of which race? And those are the primary issues that come up. By the time I'm coaching them, they've already decided to be together, and then they have to deal with the pressures that come along with it. So.
Now, do they ever speak about what it is that brought them together and how open they were to actually forming that union beforehand?
Not with me. They usually resolve those issues beforehand, and most of them are very comfortable with their ethnicity, and so they don't have a problem then choosing what their preference is in terms of who they date, and that's usually not race specific. So they're usually just open people, and so that gives them more variety to choose from. So.
Now, it seems like in our culture we focus a lot on black-white interracial dating, but one of my good friends growing up, he was half Chinese, half Puerto Rican. You know, so you have all these different combinations. Christie, when people come to you and they are open to developing or, you know, seeing different people, dating different people, what are some of the more interesting combinations and what have been the results of those dates?
Well, yes, I have a lot of biracial. I've had Amerasians, I've had Latin Asians, I've had African American Asians. I mean, it's been fascinating the mixes. If they're biracial of two different, they might be interested in trying dating somebody of a full race of whatever parent maybe were that, and many have already explored that in their own personal life before they came to me. So it's more of an exploring thing, and like also what you were saying, the feeling comfortable with themselves and secure with themselves. Is also a big part of it. But then again, also you were saying about the romantic sexual attraction as well. I mean, there has to be some sort of chemistry between two people. And if they seem to be drawn to a certain type, they might want to stick with that.
Now, Karyn, also when you were interviewing people for your book, just like Christie said, people's level of comfort, you know, with themselves. How much did you find that people who were more comfortable with who they were and, you know, in their own ethnicity were open to or more close to dating somebody outside of their own ethnicity?
That could be tough. I mean, I think there are people who are very comfortable with their ethnicity, but who feel very strongly that a part of their obligation as an African American person, since I was primarily writing about those relationships, includes dating exclusively within the race.
Right.
I think what you can say, though, is if you believe that men of other cultures or that people of other cultures are interested in you and you go out into the world with that expectation, you get what you believe. It really is a matter of like attracting like. It is a matter of attracting what you believe in. And so the women who said, oh, you know, they're not interested in me. You know they're not interested in us. They're not interested in black women. Were the women who had lived that experience and did not feel attention or see attention from men of other cultures. The women who said, hey, he's a man, I'm a woman, whatever.
Right.
Attracted men of all backgrounds. So I think there's a level of comfort or a level of identification of oneself as maybe woman first and race second that makes it easier to date cross-culturally, at least for the women that I interviewed.
So it's more a level of confidence, you know, if they're more confident that more people are attracted to them, or whoever's attracted to them.
Exactly.
It's okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well, look, we have to go to break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about interracial relationships here on Views and Vibes. We'll be right back.